Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows every Thursday at 8:01 p.m. and full shows online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics.
Hey, boy.
We're going to talk about B25, possibly B26, and these aren't vitamins you need to supplement your diet with.
Oh, God. I'm throwing them away because I'm already taking them.
Do you know what B25 is? It's Bond 25.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't have a title yet. This might be the first Cinema Classics wherein we were talking about a movie that hasn't even been made yet.
Well, I know. I'd like to talk about some of the others, too, because I know it's a favorite of yours.
Great.
So let's get it over with.
Okay.
What's the problem?
So, I don't know. First of all, you remember Danny Boyle was attached to direct, the new James Bond movie. And given the fact that he recently directed Yesterday, it's probably good that they fired him.
Okay.
Because
Got it.
Danny Boyle, a little overrated, I think.
Okay.
You know?
All right.
He's got a couple of winners in that filmography, but for the most part...
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so he's out.
When you direct Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, that's one.
Wow, okay, that's how bad can that be?
I don't know. What's he followed up? What have you done for me lately, Danny Boyle? Not much. That was 10 years ago, by the way.
All right.
All right.
So
So the new movie. So they bring on Boyle's out, and they bring on this guy Cary Fukunaga.
Right.
Right. I said Fukunaga. I got Mark in here to watch over my pronunciation.
Yeah.
Cary Fukunaga, most famous for directing the first season of True Detective, and a couple of other things. So this guy is he's like hot up and coming young director. Anyway, everything has gone wrong in this production that could possibly have gone wrong. Daniel Craig broke his ankle. There was a giant explosion that went out of control and hurt a couple people. They accused Cary Fukunaga of showing up to the set late, 3 hours late, because he was playing PlayStation.
I heard that.
Yeah, you heard that one. All that the broken ankle and the explosion you didn't hear.
I didn't.
So anyway, there's just this there are a couple of angles out there that say this is a cursed production, blah blah blah, etc. So just
Yeah. So
does that, I guess my question is,
yeah.
When the press picks up on stuff like this, does it really spoil the film's chances at being considered on its own terms? Say, for instance, remember like Ishtar.
Yeah, I hope it's not like Ishtar, but I think it adds to it. All of this publicity is good publicity, I think. In the end, people will go and they'll say that's slick, that's great Bond. No, it's not Sean Connery. No, I liked Roger Moore better. There are always these comparison contrasts. I mean, we're talking 25 iterations of this. This is the fourth largest grossing franchise in the history of the world.
Well, certainly no one has ever done this. I mean, the Marvel universe, this whole thing that they've done over the course of the last 10 or 12 years is historic. No one's ever kind of tied that many movies together to tell one story this shortly, over that short of a period of time.
Right.
But James Bond, no one has done that.
Right.
Taken one fictional character and then recast it several times over the course of 40, 50 years.
I know.
And it still manages to
yeah.
capture the imagination of the public.
So I think that people are going to go, people like me, people like our buddy Mark here, who's a bit younger than I, he's looking forward to it. But I think what I'm going to miss is I don't think that the women are as exciting recently as they have been in the past.
Okay. Well,
maybe
because I have an answer to this, but go ahead.
Maybe it's because of their names. Maybe they're just not getting their names right.
Okay.
So,
There we go.
We were Goldfinger's my favorite.
Yeah, all right. Pussy galore.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
and then you had Honor Blackman.
Yeah.
Just absolutely taunting every interviewer, because the publicists didn't want to put that name out there.
Yeah.
And they would want it to be Miss Galore and so on.
Yeah.
And she would just say Pussy Galore to the interviewer and
really?
That's
awesome.
But then you do have other less exciting names.
Mm-hmm.
We do have Mary Goodnight.
Yeah.
Chew Me. And we have Honey Rider.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do you remember any of these? And We have Plenty O'Toole.
That's my favorite. If you recall, Sean Connery asks her what her name is, and she says, Plenty O'Toole, and he says, named after your father, no doubt.
Very good. There's also Xenia on a Top.
Yeah, that's Goldeneye.
Diamonds Forever. No?
Xenia on a Top? No,
Yeah.
Xenia on a Top is Goldeneye.
Oh, Goldeneye, you're right. Goldeneye, right. And then...
Don't test my Bond knowledge, John.
How about the Christmas Jones?
Christmas Jones, that was Tomorrow, not Tomorrow Never Dies. That was The World Is Not Enough.
But maybe better even than Pussy Galore would have to be Holly Goodhead.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
And you know the best Bond girl name of all time isn't featured in a Bond movie, but in Austin Powers. Lotta Vagina. That was a good one. Anyway, you know, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm glad you brought this up because the Bond movies with Daniel Craig have moved away from that kind of juvenile misogyny.
Yeah, best exemplified by Roger Moore, who would go over the top all the time.
Yeah.
With this snarky stuff.
Right. So this latest iteration, they've brought on Phoebe Waller-Cates, the woman behind the show Killing Eve.
Okay.
And she also wrote a show on, I think it's Amazon, called Fleabag.
Okay.
And they brought her on to brush up the script,
right,
and also bring some real depth and humanity to the female characters this time around.
Okay.
So maybe, I don't know.
Well, what makes it last? Tell me that. That's what I wanted to hear from you, because you really do know your Bond well.
Mm-hmm.
I think you, in a sense, that you're subconscious, you consider yourself a James Bond type.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I think, and I've thought long and hard about this over the years. I don't know if I can quite articulate it. It seems there's something elusive about it. And maybe it's part of the elusive nature of it that that's the appeal, that we keep chasing it. But obviously it's the cultural knowledge that he possesses, the sophistication, right? He's a gourmand. He knows his food. He knows wine. He knows his sartorial. He's possessed.
Splendid.
Right.
Right. Simply splendid.
And then coupled with his deadliness and his sexual appeal, but also under all of that is this kind of this will to succeed for his country, and that he just keeps pushing and will never stop to do it. There's a few seconds in the Bond oeuvre that I think really nails it. One is in Goldeneye, when Pierce Brosnan is driving the tank through Moscow and he's crashing through. He crashes through a wall, then he pops up out of the tank and straightens his tie, and then keeps going. There's another similar moment, and I think Skyfall, when he tears a train car off of the back of a train with a crane, and then he runs down the crane, he jumps into the train car and tightens his cufflink. And it's that moment of grace, those little moments of grace, and this sort of, in this spectacle, of brutality that really make Bond Bond.
Well, and for me, it's years, decades and decades of watching it and enjoying it every time. Perhaps because I grew up in an age when we were afraid of the bomb, we were afraid of annihilation, we were afraid of wars, World War II, Korean War, and so on, that would be devastating. So to have a simple solution to this all, which is one human being who could maybe save us all and make us feel good about each other, and particularly for males, so male-centered, in every way that you described. This is all what males thought they ought to be. And I think he brought that to it. But for me, nobody has ever equaled Sean Connery.
No.
He is James Bond, and he represents what I think all of us would like to be. And I thought around the time in those 50s when it came, I think it was a moment when we were really on the brink of the space age,
mm-hmm.
and when we have come off some devastating wars, where there was a kind of salve, something that made us feel better. about having a human being who's actually so much in control as he, because we just didn't feel that we had control anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's great.
So we're hoping then, I mean, that my granddaughter met Daniel Craig at Barbara Broccoli's office
Mm-hmm.
a couple of months ago with the new director. And she was thrilled, and he was most gracious. Not quite tall enough for her.
Oh,
But that's the way it goes.
yeah.
What does the camera care? But anyway, that was my granddaughter, who in her 20s is well aware. In fact, Barbara Broccoli introduced her to Craig, who was in the other room, just because she couldn't believe there's a young law student who actually knew who James Bond was.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that's the generation to generation to generation. And here Alexandra is carrying the torch on and looking forward.
And as we close, just a little food
Yes.
for thought.
Yes.
Broccoli, full of B25 and B6.
Wonderful.
So silly.